You have to let so-and-so win the race. He's racing to get money for his sister's operation. He's like, but if I let him win, that wouldn't be a real win. And he wins the race. Welcome to the Rewatchers on the Pod-Tucson. There it is. I was trying. There it is. You're here with me, Tyler Harris, and
Tyler McKinley.
Justin Hammer.
and ninjas. That's what we're into. When it's just the three of us, you can bet your ass we're gonna watch some ninjas from the 90s.
We should actually make this a rule. Every time it's just the three of us, we will watch a ninja movie.
We should have conditional parameters that are only in play depending on who's here. Like if it's ever just like Justin, Gwen, and Tyler, I don't know.
We
I don't
to
have
watch
any...
something based on a book.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Yeah.
And if it's just me and Mitchell, we're watching The Last Jedi.
And that'll be the last episode of our podcast because I will never want to.
Somebody will die.
Yeah, we'll either lose our recording space. Anyways, so yeah, we watched Surf Ninjas. Basically, just because we watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 last time, and Ernie Reyes Jr. is in both of them. And we got our double dose of Ernie Reyes in this movie, but I'm sure we'll talk about that. How could we not? And as our summary today, to let you know everything that happened in Surf Ninjas, we're going to get a little experimental. We're going to play a game called Collaborative Summaries. And its theme song goes like this. Talking about movies, what happened in this movie, let's ask everyone to help. And we're just going to... I guess I'll start the summary, and then at some point I will gesture and
You gotta say a
name.
phrase. You gotta say a phrase.
I will say...
What is... Oh, shoot. What
Patusan to you. Patusan. Instead of popcorn reading, this will be Patusan
what did they say
summaries.
at the end when they're all like...
Oh,
Like they're
God, why did I just
cowabunga
forget
words.
that?
I don't remember.
We'll say Patusan.
We'll say Patusan. That's the word. It's seriously, that has been, I watched this 3 days ago, and randomly I'll just be sitting somewhere, I'll be at work, and I'll just be like, Patusan. It's just got a good, it's got a good mouthfeel to it. It just, I don't know. Anyways, here we go. Oh man, how the fuck does this movie start?
Surfing.
Yeah. Ancient prophecy about something. Rad surf footage. Here's some teens who were real good at surfing that we just watched surf. Time to go home. Uh-oh, didn't do their homework. Is that a killer in their house? Nope, it's just Rob Schneider. Patusan Tyler.
Rob Schneider's parents are in a bubble in Arizona trying to survive, but really he doesn't have a family. They go to school where they go to Surf High or whatever the fuck it's called. While there, the extremely racially insensitive administration puts Ernie Reyes Jr.'s character in charge of welcoming the Baba Ram, who is a spiritual guide, leader of sorts. So since they're both of the same race, he decides, hey, you should be in charge of the assembly. So in a very brief moment of improv, he grabs the choir boys and they sing ba 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 ram. And then what happens after? Oh, there's an eye patch guy played by Ernie Reyes Jr.'s dad who's following them around, there are all these camouflage ninjas trying to kill them, and this eye patch man in a trench coat is stopping them, and no one notices all these battles happening because apparently they are destined for something great. Patu-san Justin.
None of this is in the Wikipedia entry. Shit.
Sounds like we have some work to do on that Wikipedia page.
There's something about a kidnapping. I don't remember somebody getting kidnapped. Who gets kidnapped? Mac? Who's
Yeah,
Mac?
the dad.
The dad.
Their adoptive dad.
Okay, their adopted dad gets kidnapped after telling them that they're losers or something. I don't remember. It's basically Rocket Power the movie, I think. The only thing that's missing is a wiggity, 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 wiggity.
Yeah, they have that. I just wish I could remember what it is.
So Zach, who is Ernie Reyes?
Ernie Reyes
Ernie
Sr.
Reyes Sr. tells them about their destiny, and they got to go and overthrow or inherit the throne of the island of Patu-san, the kingdom of Patu-san, that was flashback to a ways when they were. I don't even know when he was born.
When the second one was like just born.
Yeah, so he was born, and Leslie Nielsen apparently is Colonel Chi, I think is his name. And he comes and like overthrows the kingdom and tries to kill Ernie Reyes Jr., but it doesn't work. He escapes, and he finds out from his dad in real life, who's not his dad in the movie, that he needs to go back and it's his destiny to take back the throne from Colonel Chi, who is a half robot man because he got hurt really bad and got turned into a robot.
Got stepped up by a fucking elephant.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, an elephant. Patu-san Tyler Harris.
Okay.
I was waiting for that. And they're like, that's bullshit. That we're not gonna, nah. And then he's like, well, we're gonna go to Little Patu-san, which everyone knows is in LA. And they go to a Patu-san restaurant, which restaurants are just great places to fight. Lots of weapons around, lots of tables to throw over. And then the younger Patusani king finds out he has Seer's vision, but it only communicates with him currently through his Game Gear, where he's spending the points that he's made to purchase real life items, which makes this whole situation feel pay to win in a way I'm not comfortable with, but whatever. So they fight a lot more. The older brother, but junior Ernie Reyes, finds out he's gonna get married, and then he's worried, and then he's like, and then she's like, I'm gonna be yours forever, and it's like, oh, weird. And then they fight some more, and then they go to normal size Patu-san. During that time, also, Commander Chi's getting a bunch of phone calls that he doesn't pick up in time, or he's getting his hand wet and spanking people. I don't know. Patu-san Tyler.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. What is his? Zach, the bodyguard, who the whole time I thought was Z-A-C-H. So I was like, that's a hilarious dig at Zach. And he's a psychopath and fucking blows up their house because he's like, I had no other choice. If I didn't blow up your house, you wouldn't come with me and fulfill your destiny. And the explosion is huge. Could easily have blown up the houses next to it. Anyway, there's also a detective who was like trying to protect them.
And Total Oak. Yeah.
And he was the voice of the Gecko and Fern Gully, and they get on a ship, and he comes on the ship too. He's like, but then they knock him out, and then they sail the boat to the island of Patu-san, one of the islands of the kingdom of Patu-san, where they then are searching for the ceremonial weapons of the royalty of Patu-san that they're destined to have, and they find it with the Game Gear, and then we get to see an evening of what it was like at the Reyes residence growing up, where the two Reyes are fighting with swords and martial arts, and then they're like, okay, we did this, now then they find some, they rescue some of the villagers from the evil overlord Cheese, chain gang, and
Chain gang.
Some uncomfortable jokes are made between 15-year-olds about their sex life, and then they decide. Then they're like, okay, we've conquered this island, we saved some people. How are we going to storm the main fortress, Patu San Justin?
So the natural solution to that problem, because I guess the main fortress is surrounded by a reef of some kind that is going to prevent any boats from getting there. And because these are the surf ninjas, they instruct all of the people that they've rescued to build surfboards. And they teach them all how to surf. And they use their surfboards to cross this body of water to get to the fortress. And you get this shot of the island in the background and like 50 surfers going out,
Pretty cool.
going towards the island. It's pretty awesome. They get onto the main island, and basically from here on out, we just have cool ninja fights and battles and lots of explosions, which I was not expecting. So many explosions. They went all out on these explosions for this movie. It was pretty cool. Car chases, truck chases, and over. But it was a good time. You can take the finale. It's on Tyler Harris again.
And then they do more fighting, and then they have a big ceremony, and they're just so happy to have their king back. And then he does the best thing you can do as a king, which is like, I'm peacing out to take my SATs. And by the way, your fucking whole governmental system is gone, so do whatever. And then they
libertarian utopia.
Yeah, the libertarian agenda of surf ninjas becomes very clear. And then they over the credits they sing Barbara Ann with the Baba Ram of Patusan. Thank you, God.
With all the Patusanis singing along with them.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. Wow.
That worked.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, we got there. We're basically done with the podcast now.
Basically,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, let's really dig into Surf Ninja's rich bed of lore and Reyes family members.
Yeah. Wow.
So wait, do you seen this before? Did you see this when you were younger, Tyler?
The last time I saw it, I was trying to think of it today. I was either 4 years old or 6 years old.
Okay, that's a small enough window.
I have some distinct memories of it. Like later on, I can't remember his name in the movie. Ernie Reyes Jr.'s character has like these straps to hold his sword on his back. They're like these leather woven things. And I think my dad. No, they were mine. Like they were like children. Like I had a belt for going to church,
like the
and
braided
it looked
leather.
exactly like the braided leather belts.
Sure.
And so I had two of them. I was like, I am destined to be the king of punch. So I took my shirt off and like put them on crossed and like tried to like put the sword through it on my back. I was super badass.
That sounds badass. That when you started that story, I thought it was going to turn into a story about your dad's belt, and I felt like we were going to have a really weird moment. But I'm glad with where it went. I actually do want to talk about that because
my dad beating me.
No, sorry. No, I just mean later. Yeah, I'm just putting that as a footnote. Let's talk about it later. But the thing that I always have when I come back to movies that I haven't watched when I was a kid is I always have these very clear memories of it. Like, it's like the best example I can point to where it's like, here's my memory of this thing. And then when I watch it again, I'm like, holy shit, my mind is terrible. But there are always a couple things that I'm like, it's exactly how I remember it. And I don't know if you have any of these for this movie, but the first one that I always think of is when Rob Schneider's character is first introduced. And you just see like the shot of a knife and like someone coming into their house.
The doorknob turning.
Yeah. And then something falls and he's like, oh, it's probably just the cat. And they walk out and the younger brother's like, we have a cat? And you're like, oh shit. And then they go in there and it's just Rob Schneider making an omelet, but they're like, put that knife down. And he's like, if you don't want chives, I won't put them in. And the way that line is read, it's just like been stored in my brain. And I'll think about like anytime I see chives or hear chives, I hear Rob Schneider's voice going, seriously, if you don't want chives, I won't put them in. Like, it's just there. And like, Man, there are a couple of those. Also, them moto surfing to
The
school.
moto surfing, yeah.
Yeah.
With and there's the other not cool kids or the other cool kids, depending on what
get
your
pulled
perspective
over.
is, who got pulled over by the cops for moto surfing. We weren't moto surfing.
Pulls on an oar.
Sometimes I wish I was wrong.
Yeah. What a great yeah. So I feel like I have a ton of that attached to this movie, but yeah, man, it is a wild ride. It's like this has to fit like I feel like there's a very specific genre of movie that is a list that I should compile that is just like movies you probably rented from Blockbuster when you were 7. Like, because they're like all of them sort of feel the same in a way. Like it was like, we've got this movie making thing locked down. Like, you're going to get this shot, you're going to get this shot. These guys are already working on 6 scripts. We're just going to give you one of those. And these are the locations you have. It doesn't matter what the script is. We've already looked. They'll fit into any mold that we want them to.
This is kind of the thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of stemming symptoms of this. This movie's called Surf Ninjas. I mean, okay, there's some definite racial insensitivity in this film, not just at the school, but like the fact that they just cast any like slightly Asian looking person and they're like, you're from Bantusan. Also, I'm pretty sure like the word ninja is only uttered in reference to the bad guys. There's no like I mean, ninja is just essentially like a Japanese assassin, right? So like, I mean, it is Japanese, but it's been like at least in Three Ninjas, they're like, oh, there's like a ninja code. We are doing ninja things. The most ninja thing they do in this movie is to throw a grapple hook up a wall and then climb it. The rest of it is like, no, you're in like the completely wrong region of like Asia. Like,
let me just tell you the first rule in the Surf Ninja Code is fuck the ninja code. It's just like that's the first thing. They like give you the big like phone book full of instructions for ninjas, and they're like, now take that and throw it over your shoulder and never look at it again. Here's your board.
It's like amazing because you have like the monk who looks like more something out of like more the like landlocked Asia, like China, that area, Mongolia type of monks, and wearing those like traditional robes like that. And then you have white Leslie Nelson in samurai armor from Japan. But then you have all these guys who have like Indonesian heritage and like just this crazy mashup of just like Hollywood being so like, it's Asian. White people don't know the difference. We're going to throw them all together. Sure. And it's just like the whole movie is that.
Well, I do want to talk about Leslie Nielsen's character first of all, because that scene of him fighting in the full samurai get up and the thing keeps falling down over his eyes. All I could think watching it this time was like, this is a cautionary tale about giving weebs too much power.
That's that's exactly what I thought when I first saw him. I'm like, he's like the ultimate weeb.
He's totally like, that's all I could think is it was like, that's a swap meet samurai outfit. This keeps falling over his eyes.
You made that thing for Comic-Con.
Yeah. So I do think in that way, this movie has a lot of powerful and interesting commentary that everyone should like at least experience. And just so you know, like it's not. I'm somewhat into anime and stuff like that. In the eyes of some, I would be considered a weeb, and even I am like, yeah, don't give me that power because I am at risk of abusing it.
I do like find it fascinating what they did with him, because I mean he's very known for his thing, right?
Yeah.
Like his slapstick and like all that. So it's like they kept him on a leash, it felt like, for this movie a bit. And it also seems like they only had him for 2 days of shooting. Like
yeah.
We have you for Cave Day and we have you for Big Temple Day, which we're gonna shoot the past scenes and the final battle.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like they didn't let him go full Leslie Nielsen, like. But there's like definitely
hints of it.
There's hints of it in some places, but the phone bit is like,
yeah, for sure,
the most in your face one. And there's like, but the rest of it's like feels so like, I don't know, reserved that like it. I kind of wish, because they do a lot of weird shit with the humor in this movie. Like there's a point where Rob Schneider makes one of the best jokes in this movie that I actually like.
This is about the knives.
No,
Oh,
I do like the knife one too. Yeah, but like the patched one when they're throwing dynamite, and I honestly like took me a second to get it, and as he's turned towards the camera, I'm like, oh, because he's like, we gotta light the dynamite. He pulls out cigarettes and a lighter, and he's like, I'm trying to quit. I know. He's like, you should use the patch, and he turns like, here's the camera.
Look who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
It's a great, yeah.
And there's like honestly, there's times in this movie where I was laughing and cringing just because it was so bad. But there were times where I was like, that's actually a pretty clever joke.
I honestly think most of those times come from Rob Schneider. Like, say what you want about Rob Schneider's career, whatever, but like in this movie, he definitely infuses a lot of like actually genuine humor, and I think that his character's pretty funny, like given what it is. You know what I mean? Well, you might as well talk about that knife bit really quick too, because that's like one of those things. I'm like, I don't know if that was. I feel like that's not a joke that was in the script. It's just a thing that like he latched onto and started to make that bit, because even the way it's like delivered and like the fact that they cut and in the next scene he's still going on about like we're going through this rubber plant and it'd be great if we had knives, but money can't buy knives. Like it's so good. Yeah.
Like the detective guy plays along with it too.
Yeah.
Like
so that stuff, it's funny that there are moments that this movie like lands inexplicably. I can't explain how. But let's talk a little bit about are there other characters that you want to talk specifically about? We could talk about Patusani. We've kind of touched on Patusani culture, which is just like east of here.
Arranged marriages.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was definitely something that like there's this arranged marriage presented, and it's just very much just like, yeah, I'm yours. Then in a random scene thrown towards the end of the movie, it's like halfway through, they're like, maybe this is kind of fucked up, and we kind of feel bad about writing this character this way. So they just have this scene where she like comes up to him and is like, you know what? I thought a lot about it. It just totally like breaks everything that's been established about this character.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But then she's still the queen at the end. Like, she's still like sitting on a throne at the end. That was something I might have missed a moment.
It's because in Pakistani government, when the prince is dating someone, they become honorary princesses until they break up.
And the dissolution of the government is only valid if all ruling members are present and are there to high five. That's the government falls. I think I just remembered the phrase, their cowabunga phrase that they say. Is it just Kwansu?
It might be, yeah.
Kwansu. Is that it?
That sounds right.
And the kid's like, I don't know what that means. Free beer?
Yeah. So let's talk about. Oh, this is another thing I want to talk about. We've watched 2 ninja movies over the last 2 weeks. We're basically fucking experts on the topic. Here's something I didn't know about ninja culture that I was taught by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, and it was reinforced by surf ninjas. If you're a ninja and you're in America and you're trying to keep a low profile, you're gonna dress up like Humphrey Bogart. You're gonna wear a trench coat and a big wide-brimmed hat.
I think that's only in the first Ninja Turtles movie that he wears that, isn't it?
I swear he wears it in the second one when he's like with Ernie Reyes Jr., like when he's first meeting up with the Foot Clan and he's hiding behind that car. I'm pretty sure he's in. Is he not?
I don't think so.
Well, it's in the same, whatever. Raphael wears the exact same thing when he's trying to be like a nondescript human in America.
Oh, no, they do wear it when they're going back in the sewer, because then he says the line from Casablanca. Mikey does.
And that's Mikey, yeah. But yes, I mean, if you're trying to hide you're a ninja, that's apparently your camouflage is a private dick's outfit.
Oh, man, we're 12. No, yeah, that's a good observation that I've not thought of before. I'm trying to think if there's any moment in the Three Ninjas quadri.
The
I don't know what
newly
you call
revealed to us quadrilogy.
that. We totally forgot there's a third Ninja Turtle movie in between.
A third Three Ninjas movie.
Yes.
Oh, really?
In between the second one and High Noon at Mega Mountain.
And Hulk Hogan's
Yes.
Three Ninjas, which is what I call High Noon at Mega Mountain. He purchased the Three Ninjas IP at that point, put himself in the movie.
Can we talk about the Game Gear?
I have been waiting
This is like
15 fucking years for someone to ask me if we could talk about the
6-year-old
Game Gear.
me. That is literally my dream. Like being able to control the world around me through video games.
Yeah.
That and also like, did you ever watch Beetleborgs? Big Bad
Yeah.
Beetleborgs when you're little.
Yeah.
This feels really similar to that. I don't know. It gave me the same vibe of like these weird superpowers that they all have that like just kind of happen.
Did the
and then-
Beetleborgs have superpowers?
yeah, and they had like
I thought they just had bug suits.
that was part of it, but they also had like there was a dude who could like twitch his eyes or something, and then he could like make things levitate, and then I think the girl
The
could
The one
like
that could push
crack her
just
knuckles.
giant piles of shit.
Oh wait, no, yeah, she's super strong.
and
Wasn't
got
she?
really strong. Yeah, and the other guy, I can't remember what the other guy's power was.
Oh, and they lived with like werewolves
Something,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
Halloween monsters.
Yeah,
The fuck was that show? It was like Power Rangers, but there's that going on.
yeah. Kids with superpowers, like I love that shit. When I was little, I
Yeah.
wanted
Now I'm like,
superpowers and video
Why the
games.
fuck would we waste that power on children? They don't know what to do with it. Give it to me. I'll get rid of the government.
I think this is you got to follow Zatch's line of thought of if you control the kids, you control the power.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, there are definitely some unrealistic moments with the Game Gear portrayed in this movie, like the
Little
fact
bit of a
that
stretch.
you could power it on for longer than 25 minutes and not have to change
How
the
many fucking batteries did he take with him to Pontosan?
Seriously, that's
Oh, good thing this was a battery shipping shit. This is a Duracell ocean liner.
And they missed out on a sponsorship for this movie, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Dude, the creators of Shinobi are pissed. The Shinobi cartridge is in that thing the whole fucking time, and you don't see any Shinobi footage.
Which you can go watch a full playthrough of the Surf Ninjas Game Gear game on YouTube. Don't recommend it. Man. Yeah, what a weird... I was just thinking about that. The idea of making a video game for a movie that isn't being made for an existing IP. You know what I mean? Like, what a weird time in video games. Like, I'm trying to think if that would even
it's
happen
like-
at this point.
So we're like post like video game crash, obviously, where everything, like literally every movie that ever came out was getting a video game made in like 2 days.
Right, yeah,
with E.T. like being the death of video games at the time.
Yeah.
But we're at the point now where like video games are cool and popular and everybody has them again. And they're like visionaries at this point with this movie because they're making video games for a movie again before the movies even come out. Like I think this is
It's kind of like Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is probably the closest thing I can think of, where they like kind of made the game.
Yeah.
Were they doing it? I guess that was
But the
already
thing-
on
it's
a
an
comic
existing
book.
yeah, it was such a beloved property already, at least in a corner of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was following that art style too.
Yeah,
so.
like I can't imagine there was anyone on an internet forum in 1991 being like, man, they should make a Surf Ninjas movie
Can't imagine there's anyone
based
on
off
the
of
internet
that
forum in
webcomic I
1991.
read once. Like,
I mean, Disney saw this and made like the Toy Story video game. They had the Aladdin video
Right.
game. They had all of those lined up, ready to go.
really,
Oh,
the
the
movie's
classics.
based off of those video games.
yeah. I mean, maybe it is a thing where they made the video game and we're like, you know, our vision would be better carried out in a movie. Maybe we should just make
I have yet to see the Super Munchers movie. We did get kind of a sort of Pac-Man-y movie with pixels, I guess.
Oh God! Don't do
I've not
this
seen
to
it.
me. Yeah.
We got Mario. I'm trying to think of other games that came out around that same time that we just haven't seen that we need to get on right away. You know.
Golden Sun? Anyone? I just want anyone talking about Golden Sun again because I need those on my fucking Switch. You're putting everything on the Switch, Nintendo. Golden Sun was good.
I just Yeah, I think they probably want to land a Final Fantasy movie before they try Golden Sun.
We're gonna be waiting forever. It's never gonna happen. They already made the perfect Final Fantasy movie.
can't-
Everyone loves Spirits Within.
I mean, they've made some like straight to DVD ones since then, but like I saw that thing in theaters.
Spirits Within?
Yeah, what an
Upsetting.
experience. Yeah.
Man, yeah. I mean, not to go on a total Final Fantasy bet, but is Advent Children the best movie they've made?
Probably.
And that one is not, I wouldn't say it's good.
No. I mean,
It looks cool. It looked cool when it came out, at least.
fight scenes are cool.
Yeah.
And this movie has fight scenes in it.
So much fighting.
And Ernie Reyes Jr. is a really good fighter guy. That's not necessarily shown very well in this movie, as much as I'd like it to be. There's some, this movie doesn't really give me high regard for ninjas because all the actual ninjas in the movie are getting their fucking ass kicked by hamburger cooks.
Well, yeah, because they were restrained by the code. But when you have the code and you throw it over your shoulder, never to look back, that's when your true power is
Like,
unlocked.
who would waste their time training as a ninja when you just pick up a guy, put him on a grill, and turn it up and burn his ass? Like, that literally happens in this movie.
Also, they really need to redesign their face masks because if you could just make a cage on the front that can be opened and a squid shoved in, and then the case closed, like that is
Those are literally
horrifying.
Those are literally kendo masks, and kendo is Japanese fencing essentially for like samurai swords, right? So it's like someone wearing a fencing mask with tiger pajamas, which is what they were fucking wearing. I'm like, man, they really just patched this movie together with whatever was in the back room, script wise, prop wise, actor wise. Like,
yeah,
it was a mess,
yeah,
but a fun one.
a fun mess.
Somebody
wish-
give him a budget for explosions at the end too.
Yeah,
Dude, yeah, that guy probably got blacklisted because he was making the explosions too big. He blew up like a whole block.
Do we have a connection from the explosives expert on this movie that we could do for our next movie?
I will
His
research
career
that. I'll see
ends
if there's
right now.
anything.
All I can think of is on Hot Rod, Danny McBride's character.
Oh man, yeah. This movie is really insane. Okay. I've been thinking about this. I kind of want to try this new segment. So The Godfather, people like The Godfather had a lot
This
of
isn't Tyler's
production problems.
Conspiracy
No, wait,
Corner.
just follow me. So The Godfather, the producers on The Godfather were like, this movie's never gonna get fucking finished. We hate this movie. And then they sent Francis Ford Coppola sent over the dailies of the scene where Michael goes in and meets with the police chief. It's a very famous scene. I don't know if Justin has seen it, so I'm not
I
gonna
have not seen it yet.
spoil anything that happens. But it's this incredible scene. And after the production company saw that scene, they were like, fuck it, this movie's gonna be awesome. What is the scene from Surf Ninjas that was sent to the production company? They're like, I don't know about this. And then they saw that scene and they're like, fuck it, this is gonna be a great movie.
I mean, I think it's Baba Ram.
I think it's Bob around. It's the
Which one,
the
though?
early one or
I think
the
the
last
first
one?
I think I don't know. They probably did it back to back.
School Assembly.
They probably showed them both.
School Assembly.
They probably had an uncut version of the first one.
Oh, I'm
That
sure.
was full length, and then they're like, "Holy shit!"
They had they tried out 6 different Beach Boys songs before they were like, oh, that one, Barbara Ann. Is that a Beach Boys song?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
Is it?
Barbara Rand. No,
Okay,
it is definitely.
Okay. I just
Trust
wanted to make
me.
sure. I thought I was maybe wrong.
Barbara Rand is a fucking amazing song, and I'll tell you
great.
why. If you've heard because they did the I don't know if it's on the original pressing of whatever the fuck that album is that's on, or if it was just on the remaster that they did. But basically, the story, and I'm pretty confident this is true. The story of that song goes, they were drunk out of their minds, and they had a ton of friends over to sing these extra parts in the studio. And the beginning of this remaster version is just them dicking around, and they're trying to teach them the parts ba ba. And then one guy's like, you don't know ba 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 black sheep, have you? And it's this crazy drunken party, and then all of a sudden, boom, they hit that first note and all the harmonies come in. And you're like, holy shit, this song is incredible. And then throughout the song, you hear people breaking their parts and cracking or going off and holding notes too long, but then coming back with this amazing, yeah. I fucking love that song. Like, I have like this like burning passion for that song that I think is probably unwarranted and unhealthy. But so to see it here was a real treat. But I think
to see someone have fun with it again.
I'm tired of all these people getting too serious about Barbara Ann by the Beach Boys. Fuck off your high horse, Anthony Fantano.
Just want a more grounded, realistic version of Barbara Ann for modern audiences. Anyways, yeah, I mean,
it could be that scene.
I feel like it's almost got to be that scene for sure.
Or
my vote. I'm going to cast my vote for the mountain slide where the kids is sitting on the back of the police officer as they're going down the mountain. I think
that's a pretty good one.
That's got to be it.
I love when they get to the bottom and he's like, LAPD. It's like, dude, you've been watching Con Air. You're out of your jurisdiction.
Those are, I honestly, if you showed me either of those scenes out of context, I would be like, where's the other 90 minutes? I need the rest of this.
Speaking of which, though, this movie's like 20 minutes too long.
Yes.
I like when they're going to Patusan Town, I'm like, what kid wants to see this shit? Just go to the surf more, do more ninja shit. We don't want to see arranged marriages and oh man.
I mean, didn't you say earlier that you had a massive crush on
That's true.
on her?
That's
So
true.
I think they kinda nailed it.
My sexual awakenings as a child go like this in tiers,
Oh
right?
boy. Wait, are you using the classical tiering system of S, A, B, C, D, or are we just
Look, S tier sexual awakening for a child
okay?
is Princess Jasmine in the red outfit
Welcome
from
to our
Aladdin.
new segment. Jesus Christ.
When you realize, holy shit, I like women. And then Kelly Hugh in Surf Ninjas is probably like B tier. But if you are born in Hawaii, then you start to see connections. You start to get hope that, things could work out.
You start to plan your post-high school life and moving back to Hawaii in hopes of meeting Kelly Hugh. And that's the state of college in America. Those plans both seem viable. Wow. This might win the award for episode where we've talked less about the movie than anything else. If you don't know now, we might as well tell you we are not watching another 90s ninja movie next week.
Definitely burnt out. Why did we watch this movie? Who was the obscure person we picked?
Oh, we just decided to fuck it and go with Ernie Reyes Jr. Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. Which is weird to have your dad on set with you, which apparently he was a stuntman as well, which is how he got his start.
Did we find out because you mentioned that he was in the first movie, one of the Ernie Reyes was
I'm pretty sure it was Ernie Reyes Jr. because I'm pretty sure that's who I was looking at.
Okay.
That he was the fight double for Donatello
that's pretty
in the
rad.
suit, and then that's how he got the gig for number 2. But yeah, I mean, I guess we could talk about Mats, and
you're just wanting to end it as quick as possible. I mean, I guess I honestly don't have much else to say about Surf Ninjas. If you watch Surf
we
Ninjas,
covered a lot. Didn't
yeah,
we?
you get it. You get.
What are we missing? I think we covered almost every sequence.
Basically,
there was a sequence we
much
missed
else.
of the actual the surfing at the beginning where Rob Schneider's got a shit ton of wax on his board already.
A good bit. That's another good an okay bit in this movie. I'm fine with it.
He confesses that he's never surfed before later on in the movie, and both of the other guys are like, "Yeah,
He's not surfing.
We know
He's not a
it's
ninja.
okay."
He's not royalty.
But he makes a mean omelet.
But he does kind of he wants to so bad to be part of this mythical experience that he convinces himself that he has his power, which he kind of has.
Oh yeah, I forgot about his
doesn't
power.
really explicitly state whether his power is bogus or not because he keeps saying, "What if this happens?" and then it happens.
Yeah, I will. I am just realizing now, literally every joke that I was like, "That's pretty decent," was something that Rob Schneider did in this movie, which I don't know how to feel about. But his that bit where he's like, "What if I lose this power?" Oh shit! Really good.
There was I think one of my other favorite jokes was from the cop when he's like, they handcuff him. He's like, how'd you get out? We handcuffed you. He's like, I had a key. He's like, where'd you have a key? I swallowed it on Tuesday. He's like, you knew you were going to get handcuffed? He's like, I swallow it every Tuesday.
Yeah. Tone Loc gives a good performance in this movie, too.
Who's such an
he's pretty
unneeded
good.
character
Yeah.
that's just thrown in there.
Yeah. It's great stuff. Well, great. Do you know the one? Yeah, as you mentioned, probably the only thing left to talk about is the matte work.
The matte work
in the
this
visual
movie.
effects of this movie. Bar none, best matte work I've seen in a 1993 production starring both Ernie Reyes Sr. and Jr. And you know who was responsible for that, right? Of both of you. I mean, it goes without saying.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even have to say the name of the man who did that, but I'm going to in just a second when I find it again. It's almost like it's just such a part of me. I don't even think Kevin Scott Mack did that
I thought
stuff.
his name was actually Matt.
No, no, that was the bit we were working
That
on
upsets
earlier.
me.
Kevin Scott Mack worked in the visual effects department for Surf Ninjas,
Beautiful Mats.
and he also was one of the 809 people in the visual effects department for the movie we're watching next week, Speed Racer, which is going to be just a rockin' good time.
2008 Speed Racer, right?
2008, yes.
I don't know if there's another Speed
Is there another
Racer
movie? Just the show then?
Maybe there's an animated movie.
I wonder.
But maybe we should watch some based on what you showed us earlier.
Yeah.
That's going to be on recommendations.
Yeah, if you want, yeah. Spoiler alert: the Speed Race is a sociopath. Look it up. But yeah, I guess we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with recommendations. If you want to email us, you can email us at rewatchersonthepod@gmail.com. I almost said my personal email address, just barely. Don't know why. Or you can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at rewatcherspod. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome to the recommendation section of the Rewatchers on the Pod podcast, where, I mean, you can be forgiven for not realizing it, but we did watch Surf Ninjas and to talk about it this week, sort of. But we're here to talk about other stuff that we did, which, again, I know it sounds like that's what we just did for an hour, but this is totally different. It's recommendations. I'm going to start off. I have 3 things to recommend, and I'm going to tell them in order of least accessible, sort of accessible, and everyone should watch this. So where I'm going to start is the 2018 Nicolas Cage film Mom and Dad. This is not a movie that everyone should watch, but god damn it, I really had a good time with it. I mean, there's like not a lot to this movie that I can talk about without spoiling the entire premise, but just know it's a movie about mom and dad trying to kill their kids.
Huh. And
Nicolas Cage gives a performance that is just as cagey and Nicholas-y as you could want from the man. 2018 turns out a very good year for Nick Cage because he did Mandy and this gem of a movie,
Oh, so
Mom
it's
and
kind of
Dad.
newer.
Yeah. And Selma Blair is in it, which I'm pretty sure Selma Blair was like out of movies for a while. I want to say it was because of some sickness. I can't remember. But she is in this movie. And you know what? I really like Selma Blair. And she's great in this movie. You should go watch Mom and Dad. It's on Hulu.
Selma Blair, the girl in Hellboy?
Yes.
I do not like her in Hellboy.
Watch Mom and Dad. The second thing I'm going to recommend is only slightly more accessible than Mom and Dad. But if you really are, I don't know, a little in a slightly altered state and are missing 80s action movies, you should go over to Amazon Prime and watch the film Manborg, which is a movie made in 2011 by like 4 or 5 people who really love 80s movies and had a green screen. And it's kind of like so you guys have both seen Kung Fury, right? It's kind of like Kung Fury, but if Kung Fury was less in love with itself. You know what I mean? Like Kung Fury is very funny and like making a lot of very modern jokes. Manborg is just like, let's make a B movie from the 80s, and it's just going to be funny because it's that. And it'll introduce you to unforgettable characters like Number One Man. And honestly, that's actually the only
Kojima work on
character.
this?
You know what? I would be shocked if Kojima didn't watch this and be like, "This is great." So, from mine and Kojima's mouth to your ears, go watch Manborg.
That's what made him cancel his next project so quickly. He's like, he saw that movie, he's like, scrap everything I've worked on.
Yeah. The third thing I'm going to recommend is something everyone should check out. It's a 40-minute documentary on Netflix, and it's called Speed Cubers. And it's just about the world of competitive Rubik's Cube people. Children mostly. Like there is a very steep drop off at some point in the world of a speed cuber, but it's really good, and it's kind of more about this. It's kind of set up with this perfect story of like this guy who's been the world record holder of speed cubing for a decade, and the new kid who's breaking all of his records, and it's just a wonderful, heartwarming little documentary, and it's very great. So you should go watch that. I think that's all. Oh, the last thing I have to recommend is sort of a video game, mostly just a weird internet thing. Which, have you guys heard of Blaseball?
No.
Blaseball started 3 weeks ago. They just finished their third season. Blaseball is an online fake baseball league that simulates baseball games at the top of every hour. And you go in, you pick a favorite team, and you're given some money, and all you do is bet on the outcomes of these fake baseball games that are simulated.
Are they
It's
based
basically
on, like,
just
real
text.
teams?
No. It's like my team is the Charleston Shoe Thieves. That's the team that I chose. But there's like I think the team that just won the last championship was the Hades Tigers. There's the San Francisco Love Connect. I can't remember all the names. There's a bunch of weird ones. It's really good, but it's basically just like a text thread of like the events that are happening in the game, and they've got like a scoreboard next to each thing. The cool thing that is happening with Blaseball is they just have a wiki that already has 600 entries on it. And there are highlights from every season, like huge events that happened that shook the world of Blaseball. Like earlier in this season, which was earlier this week, the Charleston Shoe Thieves had what has become to be known as the Great Unslam, which is just that a grand slam was hit in the final inning that put them within 3 runs, and then they ended up winning the game, and they unslammed themselves.
Wait, so is it like visually represented in any way, or is it just like
it's just a
the stat
scoreboard and then text that is like coming up with every
Are there
event
players?
that happens.
Like, are there
yes,
player
there are
stats?
player names and stats, and they have star. It's not not all of that is front facing, but they are basically giving a star ranking that you see.
okay?
But so you
Wait,
basically
do
bet
you,
on these.
do you get to
games.
see stats then on all the players and stuff?
No, not like in depth.
Okay.
There might be a place. I don't know.
Can we like start a fantasy league based on baseball players?
Not yet. I don't think. It would. Honestly, they might get to that point. I don't know. But the other cool thing is, so you're basically accumulating these coins from betting on the games. Every season is just a week long. The regular season takes place Monday through Friday, and then Saturday is the entire playoffs. And so a new winner is, a new champion is crowned at the end of the season. Also, what happens at the end of the season is throughout the week, they have this election process, and you can buy votes using the coins that you're accumulating. And you're basically voting on new rules that will be implemented going into the next season. So there's stuff like in week 2 of Blaseball, there was one that was just peanuts. There was no description on what that was. It won with 25% of the vote. And so now you can buy peanuts and you can eat peanuts that no one knows if they do anything or not. But you can, if you got a lot of coins, you could buy like 500,000 peanuts at once. And then you would just have 500,000 peanuts that you could click on and eat.
I am having so many ideas running through my head right now around this. This is the next like Star Citizen or what's that? What's that game that everybody plays? It's just a spreadsheet simulator, basically.
Oh, Dwarf Fortress?
Well, there's that. I'm thinking of the space one.
Oh,
Elite Danger? No, it's not Elite Dangerous. What is? Anyways,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of just ridiculous stuff going on. It's pretty fun to just kind of log in and like it's basically like a clicker is kind of the closest thing, but the interesting thing is just like going to the wiki and seeing all the outside stuff that is like around it, because there's also like this like scrolling just text at the top that's providing updates on all the games, but then every once in a while it would just be like the commissioner's doing a great job. And so the commissioner is like this character that exists in the world who is running the Blaseball League.
This is insane.
It's definitely worth checking out. It's real dumb. I think if you have any interest, for sure check it out. If none of this sounds appealing to you, it is not for you. It is not a thing that you'll enjoy. But it's just kind of a goofy thing, and there's like discords, and the Blaseball Discord is a fucking nightmare because it's just everyone commenting on every game that's happening, which they all happen at the same time. So it's like faster than Twitch chat sometimes, where it's just like just very fast. It sounds like that too. I don't know why that was my. Anyways, that's all.
Eve Online is the game I was thinking
Eve Online.
of.
Okay, yeah.
In-game economy. Like we could start up. Can you corner the market on the peanuts? Become the peanut lord.
That see, and that's the thing, is there's not a whole lot of like of that interaction built into the game, and I don't know. That's the thing. I'm just curious to see where it goes, like what they do implement. Because like some of the other rule changes are like, okay, if this rule passes, then the two best players on the championship team of this season just get randomly assigned to a different team, or like stuff like that like they're shaking up the rules that way. But yeah, I don't know if they introduce like something like that at some point.
It sounds really cool.
It's really interesting. And I think it's kind of like made by this shadowy group of developers that I think are like pretty big players in the like video game scene. They're just like, let's fucking do this thing. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, Justin, what did you have to recommend for us?
Just real quick, I don't think I mentioned this, but I ended up finishing Dorohedoro. Just final time I'll bring that up. Please watch it. Please watch it.
I need a season 2 so bad.
Yeah.
Please watch it.
I did not know that it was leading into a second season. I thought it was a self-contained thing. And then it was like, well, maybe if enough people are interested, we'll do another season. But it's like set up for a second season. Yeah, it's great. I've got so many ideas of like T-shirts that I want to get for this. Like, yeah, please watch it. And then we've already talked about this before as well. But I finally started watching The Last Dance on Netflix, and I think I'm on episode 8, I think. So I think I have 2 more, I believe. Looking forward to the one where they actually like talk about the Jazz and see like how much of an interaction that has in that episode. I'm real curious to see if they got like any of the Jazz players to interview.
To watch again.
I bet it is, yeah. And that's like one of the things. Like watching this has been really interesting because my formative NBA years were watching Michael Jordan's final seasons and seeing them beat the Jazz and hating the Chicago Bulls so much. Yeah. Like in my home, like Dennis Rodman was akin to the devil, basically. He was the worst human being that you could possibly think of. He's such a bad influence. Like Michael Jordan was a terrible person. Scottie Pippen was a good basketball player, but he was on the Bulls, so we couldn't like him. So it's been so interesting seeing all of this stuff from that kind of a perspective, from somebody whose fandom was beat by Michael Jordan. And like I'm wondering like what the prompt was to do this now, because apparently like all this footage has been around for forever since those seasons. So I'm curious to know like why they decided to do this now. Um, yeah, it's really good for a basketball fan. Like this is some really great stuff. I th- I did not know very much about Michael Jordan because he was a bad guy in my house growing up. So it's been really cool to kind of get a peek into his early days playing, which I never experienced before. Seeing him actually play the game as a rookie and everything, like holy shit, the guy, like people talk about like is LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time? Is Kobe Bryant the greatest basketball player of all time? Like seeing Jordan do what he did at his size and everything, like the man was just fucking amazing at basketball. Yeah, it's been a really good time. So if anybody hasn't watched that yet and you're a sports fan, do yourself a favor and watch this documentary. I think it's a must watch if you like sports, especially if you like basketball. Like you've got to watch it.
I will say, like, watching that, coming away from that, it was interesting too. I think even if you're not interested in sports, but interested in like the way someone who is the best at something, like the way their mind works and the
Yeah.
way they think about what they do, like that was really eye opening to me for Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? It's kind of the thing that, like, I think of course it makes sense, but like actually seeing it and hearing some of the logical things where he's like, yeah, that guy told me good game after the game, so I need to fucking I knew I need to just beat the shit out of him
Yeah.
on the court. It's like, holy shit.
I talked to Gwen about this a little bit and I think I might have brought this up when we had our podcast when we did Black Swan. Like I don't know if it's just where I am in my life and because I'm not successful like these people are, but like I'm kind of tired of the successful asshole
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
And like that's one of the things about this documentary. Like we get Steve Kerr telling the story of him and Michael getting in a fight during practice, and Steve like pushes him or punches him in the chest or something, and Michael punches Steve Kerr in the eye, and like of course he says he felt bad about it afterwards because he punched the smallest guy on their team or whatever, and like, but like it was because like Steve Kerr says like I'm competitive too, like I just am not you. I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not as tall as you. I don't have the same athletic ability that you do. Like there's so much emphasis on like the emotional drive behind everything and like the sacrifice and stuff like that. And like it doesn't really talk so much. I mean, they talk about how like fucking Dennis Rodman grew or Scottie Pippen grew like 6 inches in between their like junior and senior year of high school or something like that. Like stuff like that, like the physical ability, like the talent that they have just naturally, and the fact that we as a society have decided to put entertainment on such a high pedestal as well, to the point where somebody like Michael Jordan, who everybody claims is like there's nobody who has the same work ethic like Michael Jordan, like that's bullshit. There are other people out there who have worked harder and have never been successful, and the only reason that hasn't happened is because they weren't in the right place at the right time. They didn't have, maybe they're in a different industry that we just don't value as much as a society. So like that's one of those things that like watching this, like I don't know, like I'm just tired of that in of itself. Like I see people who are successful and are total assholes, and it's like you don't have to do that to be the greatest, at least in my opinion. So
yeah. No, I agree with that. I actually do have 2 things that I watched. I totally forgot about.
Did you have anything else, Justin?
Oh, yeah.
I don't wanna,
Sorry.
like, cut you
no,
off.
I think that's it.
Cool.
Speaking of things that we talked about earlier of having those images in your head from a kid, right? Another thing I watched, it was when I lived in Hawaii, so I was probably 4 at the oldest. I remember watching an episode of Animaniacs, and it's been stuck in my head. It's like the only episode whenever it says Animaniacs is the scene I think of. I'm like, it's on Netflix now, or Hulu, one of the two. I can't remember. So I was like, I got to find this episode. I was like trying to explain it to Katie. I'm like, and I explained the plot line of basically the image that's in my head is they're at a meatball eating competition. Have you guys seen this episode?
No.
Do you know?
I don't think so.
I'm not,
They're at a
it's not ringing
meatball
any
eating
bells.
competition, and like it's down to the wire, and Wacko's the one in it, and he is just like gorged with meatballs. He's this giant
Wait a
blob of
second.
himself, and he's like, and they're like, "Come on, Wacko, you got to eat one more meatball, and you win." He's like, "I can't, guys. If I eat one more meatball, I'll die." And then like the crowd parts, and the Grim Reaper's there. He's like, "You're right, Wacko." He's like, "If you eat another meatball, you will die." And that's been stuck in my head. And like over the years, I'm like, that's fucking genius. Like, that's so good. And so I'm like trying to explain it to Katie. I'm like, and I can't find this episode. She's like, it's right there. And it's like titled like Meatball something. I'm like, oh yeah.
Meatball death episode.
So I watch it again, and it's like, yeah, that show is amazing. So that whole episode is actually a like a homage or parody of
It's the
what's that movie called with the chess scene with the
Seventh Seal?
Seventh Seal, yeah. And so there's like there's like this weird surrealistic moment in this graveyard where he's playing chess, and there's just these dumb bits that are so good where the end like he eats it and he wins, so then Wacko has to die, but then the other two are like, we want to come too. He's like, you can't come too, you're not in the contract, and then they just be the Animaniacs and they follow death around, and yeah, it's just really good. So that show is great, produced by Steven Spielberg, and like I don't know,
it's coming back, right?
they're doing new ones,
think-
yeah.
yeah.
Really?
They're gonna do new ones. So I mean, it's on Netflix or Hulu, one of the two. Just go check out some episodes of Animaniacs because it's so different from anything else, and it's like separated into segments like a lot of like shows. Then so there's like other characters that are like these pigeons who are the mafia, the
Yeah.
good feathers, and their bits are really good. The ones I don't like are the hippos. There's these hippos that are like this lady's like doing a documentary on hippos and how primitive they are, but really they're like these like super rich like hippos, and they're
Remember
like
that one.
anyway, those are all really good. Obviously, Pinky and the Brain's on there is one of the segments, so it's great. And then the other thing I watched was I watched The Way Back again for the first time, and it's been like 5 years. And yeah, that movie's really weird. I like that movie, but I also there's parts of it that I'm like, this is dumb. And like it's like I feel like I'm watching a Disney Channel original movie right now, and then I'm like, but then the next minute it's great. Sam Rockwell's great. Fucking love Sam Rockwell in pretty much anything I've seen him in. And yeah, it's a good movie. I would recommend it to. It's pretty accessible to most everyone. What's it rated? Is it rated R?
It's
No.
PG-13.
PG-13. Yeah. And holy shit, I forgot how much I love that neighbor. I can't remember her name, but I can't
Wait,
remember the
Allison
actress.
Janney? Or the mom or the...
The mom of the kid with the eye.
Okay, yeah.
and-
Yeah, Allison Janney, I think is her name.
She's incredible. Like
Yeah.
that performance is really good. There's some great performance in that movie. Steve Carell's great in that movie. Just a nice, dumb, heartwarming movie that is like smart and dumb at the same time.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Way back.
Jim Rash's part in that movie. I mean,
Jim Rash in that movie is essentially just the live action version of Squidward.
so good. I just want Jim Rash on my TV all the time. He's delightful. Anyways, that's all. Is that all? Sorry, that's all.
That's all I got.
You said that's all, and I was waiting for the host to do something about it. That's me. Thank you so much for listening and watching the Surf Ninjas, because I know you did your homework. You're a good person. We will be back next week to talk about...
Here comes Speed Racer.
We will be talking about Speed Racer coming. And thanks so much. You've been here with me, Tyler Harris, and
Justin Hammer.
Oh man, well, now we know what Trixie says during sex.
he just starts humming that.